Hey guys, how you doing? It's Kevin. I just want to interrupt a little walking montage here to apologize right off the bat for the background noise in this video. There's some major construction going on my neighbor's place, so sorry for that, but it can't be helped. And I want to thank all the new subscribers and remind you of the 500 subscriber challenge. 500 subscribers by the first of the year, and I'll do another axe giveaway. All right, guys, enjoy the review. I'll see you in a bit. Well, guys, without further ado, let's get this girl undressed and see how she dances. I know it's really not meant to be a splitter, but I got to split these rounds in half to get the fire started, so we'll start there. 1, 2, 3. 3 bites to the center of a Tootsie Pop. So I'm going to let a lot of these clips run a little bit long, just so that you guys can really get a sense of how this axe performed on the first couple days out. But I can tell you, it is a fantastic limber. The head weight in combination with that wide cutting blade and that sub 20 degree grind just allows the axe to like slice through these limbs like a knife through butter. And not only does this axe bury itself deep in the wood, but it comes out easily as well, maybe because of those phantom bevels. All right, our first real chopping test here. Let's put some proper notches in this maple. Already I'm starting to notice that the axe is stinging the back of my hand, and I'm thinking about thinning the handle down already at this point. Whew. One, got a knot right there. See if we can take it out. So I'm going to speed things up here just to move it along, but this is a really good test for a new axe. See if you can get under and remove a knot. That'll tell you a lot about the grind. Knot is holding things in right there. There. You can get underneath of it with this long convex though. I think. There we go. Bottom. Top. Top. Bottom, bottom, top. Been trying to switch my pattern up a little bit to see if it makes a difference. And go top, bottom, bottom, top, bottom, top. I don't think it matters. Bottom, top. Uh-oh. It does matter, however, if your accuracy's off, even a little. Woo! She almost bit all the way through there. There she goes. All right, let's bust them apart with the Lamaca. 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 Come on. And one more. Helps if you hit the right spot. Lamaca. Ooh, stuck her in the dirt. She's a dirty little girl now. No longer the clean girl I brought to the dance. Uh-oh. Butter first, right? Go butter first on toast. Let me know in the comments, guys. Butter then jelly or jelly then butter? All right, so what do we think about Lamaca's work axe on its first night out? Well, I mean, as a chopper, it bites deep. There's no denying that. It's a heavy axe for me, so that is going to take some getting used to before my accuracy is on point. The handle's thick, too thick. I'm afraid I'm going to have to take it down some. I mean, there's a little flex in it, but it just makes the axe feel heavier. So that's probably more of a personal preference, but switching back and forth between the wedge beater and then going back to the Lamaca work axe, it just feels a lot heavier than it actually is. The palm swell is not a problem though. I actually like the palm swell. I may adjust it, but I'm not going to take it off. So that'll stay, but the handle has got to be thinned down, and that breaks my heart to get a beautiful handle like that. It's stained and oiled well, and then to have to go through the process of rasping it down. So maybe something to consider, guys, on the next one. We'll see. I mean, maybe that's not what everybody else is going to say that gets one, but I for one would like a thinner handle. So far though, the steel seems to be holding up. I'm going to take a closer look at that after I'm done to see if there is any damage. Honestly, at that angle, there usually is some micro damage. So I'm going to take a closer look at that when I'm done, and I'll let you guys know. Told you guys I would show you the bit, and seems to be holding up just fine, but there is the slightest, I don't know if you guys could see that or not, but the slightest roll or nick, call it what you want, right there. I see that a lot on axes that are sub 20 degrees. It's not going to affect the chopping at all. Chopping into these knots, probably, oh, look at that. Actually went through that. Chopping into these knots probably isn't going to do it any favors. Let's try this guy. Looks relatively clean. If I hit the center, there's a little knot right there. Yeah, see, I think that's just going to be the problem with this, is it starts to bust the wood apart, but it's such a long, thin taper, it's just not going to be a great splitter. So when it comes time to splitting, put this away and get out your boy's axe. So once again, I'm going to let these clips run a little bit long just so that you can really get a sense of how this split on its first day, but I will edit it some so that it is bearable to watch. Enjoy, guys. Always feels good to get out and chop. Thought that was busted. Wow. Now it's busted. Look at that. Basically, what I found out real quick is that this axe will split, but it needs to be backed up. If it's not backed up, it just can't penetrate the wood far enough to start busting that wood apart. All right, moving on to day 2. I have thinned out the handle considerably. We're going to see if it made any difference at all. Here goes nothing. Let's see how she fells. Got some nice flex in the handle now.
Toughen her up now.
All right, while I speed this up to move things along, let's talk about elm trees. I know there's mixed opinions about whether or not elm is a good fuel source, but I gotta say that in my experience, it burns hot and coals up just fine. Of course, there's different kind of elms. This is an American elm, and a lot of elms suffer from the Dutch elm disease, and are often mistaken for ash trees, actually, because all the ash trees around here are dying of the boring beetle, and they look very similar when they're standing dead. The only other thing I've noticed about elm is it tends to take a long time to cure. So if you can let it cure for 2 years, that would be ideal before burning it. I know some people say it's hard to split because of like the interlocking grain, but honestly, I haven't found it any more difficult than maple, which tends to be pretty stringy as well. So that's my thoughts on elm. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. And we begin the inevitable hang-up. This is the reality of felling in an overcrowded forest. So this section of the woods was logged about 25 years ago, and they took too many trees. So I am in the process now of trying to thin it out and get rid of some of the undergrowth. This elm actually got hung up in this straighter elm that I want to mature, and it got hung up on the tiny little branch. And I do everything I possibly can from this side, push the tree some. Once I get tired of pushing it, I get a branch and try to unhook it up higher, which doesn't work. Then I try using a lever, moving the trunk around, which doesn't work. Finally, I get brave enough and just go over and pull it down.
All in all, the stump wasn't too bad, but I did have to cut through the hinge wood in order to get it off the stump since it got hung up, but that's not the axe's fault. Nice clean cuts. This is the reality of limbing in the woods. It's not always that picture perfect tree lying down in the middle of a field where you can access it from all angles. Man, there's no argument that that thing bites deep. No argument from me anyway. Ooh, right in the middle of the knot. Missed. She is a laser beam. Ooh, ant colony. Well, guys, after 2 days use, what's the verdict? I love it. I don't know what else to say. I really love it. I mean, the handle needs some work. It does have to be thinned down, but once you thin the handle down, you get that flex, doesn't hurt my hands anymore, and my accuracy improved, largely because it doesn't feel as heavy. I love it, period. But it does bring up two questions, and I want to raise those questions and see what you guys have to think. The first is, would we, as the axe using community, rather have a axe shipped to you unhung? So you're going to get the head and like a replacement handle and a wedge, and you'll hang it yourself. Personally, I would rather have every axe I buy shipped to me unhung. I'm going to feel a lot more confident in the hang that way, and I can have control about like how high or low I hang that on the shoulder. The second question that I think this brings up is how slim should we demand handles be shipped to us? So for instance, like Council Tool is a good example. They're shipping handles that are usable out of the box, but I and others are still thinning them down some. Should we demand that they be thinner, much more like a Killinger handle, which is super thin? I mean, you can't thin those handles down anymore or they're gonna break. I don't, even though I like really thin handles, I don't think we want them to be super thin because you can't control the shape then. So essentially what I'm arguing for is I don't want the handle to be oiled. Don't even bother, because I'm going to be taking some off in every direction. And we can control the way the palm swell is. We can control where we take wood off of. For instance, I like it to be a little more oval shaped down by the palm swell and flat everywhere else. But not all axes are going to come that way. I don't prefer much of a fawn's foot at all. I'd rather not have that on there. So if you leave a little more meat on the handle, then we can shape it the way we want. But I'm curious to see what you guys think down in the doobly-doo below. So let me know, and I'm gonna sit here and relax a little bit more on this glorious fall day, and I will see you guys later in the week on another video. See you guys. Stay safe.